So there we are, almost on lab 6. We started with a simple hello world application of MVC. We talked about controllers, we talked about views, we talked about how to pass data from controllers to views. We saw that how we can create simple screens for inputs and displays. We saw the use of HTML helpers, etc, etc. Now, after doing all these things, I want you to take you to point 0. I want you guys to move to point 0, the purpose why we started MVC. We said, there were two important purposes actually. There are a lot of benefits of MVC, but at least personally, I see there are two important benefits of MVC. One, the foremost important benefit is that it makes your view clean and better. When I say clean and better, in other words, all the complications of your view is moved to the controller. So your view doesn't need a behind code. It is simple, and all your complications goes to the controller. The second important point for using MVC is unit testing your user interface, because all your code has moved to the controller and the actions of the controller actually map to the view. Now you can do unit testing of your user interface. So in other words, you can do a lot of automation testing for your user interface. So rather than some tester going and running the test scripts manually on the user interface, he or she can actually go and run the unit test on the controllers, and the controllers actually mimic the complete UI. So in this video we'll see that how we can do unit testing by using MVC applications. One of the biggest disadvantage of the behind code approach is unit testing of your user interfaces. For example, here I have a simple function called as btn display underscore click. If I am supposed to do unit testing on btn display underscore click function, then the first thing is I have to somehow go and create the sender object and the event argument object. The first thing. Even if I am successful in doing it, the tough part is to go and mimic the HTTP context object which is inside the page. So if you can see this context object, now in order to create the HTTP context object, you have to create a request object, you have to create a response object, and a lot of things. So one of the biggest disadvantage of the behind code is unit testing of your user interfaces. And in MVC, right, what happens is this complete code of the UI actually goes to a controller class, and the controller class is a very simple .NET class, so it becomes very easy to do unit testing using the controller. So let's try to see that how basically we can do unit testing by using MVC. So here's a sample which we are going to test. We have a simple display customer.aspx view here, and this view is actually populated by the controller action, that is display customer. So the display customer actually goes and creates a customer object with some details, and then basically it goes and kicks off the display customer view here, and display customer view actually displays the data. Now we would like to go and do unit testing on the display customer. Now as I said that because the customer class is a simple .NET class, so if you see that the customer class is really a simple .NET class, it's very easy to do unit testing over here as compared to the behind code where the class was actually attached, or the page class was actually attached to HTTP context object. So let's go ahead and quickly add a unit test project here. So what we'll do is we'll be using the VSTS unit test to test this function display customer, right? So right click on the solution, add new project, and let's go ahead and select the test project, and let's give a nice name to this, MVC unit test, right? Let's press OK. Now in case you are new to VSTS unit test, what I will suggest is go to your Quest Video account. There's a separate section for unit test and load test. You can go through the first 3 videos to get a hang of how to do unit testing using VSTS test. So once you click OK, you will find that it has created a simple unit test template for you with some coding, with some basic coding on that. So the first thing what we have to do is we have to go and reference this MVC input screen or MVC project in the MVC unit test, so that we can create the object and do unit testing. So let's do add reference, and let's reference the MVC input screen project here. So that's the project. The next thing, as we said, basically all the code of the user interface has actually gone in the controller. So we need to actually go and create the object of the controller to do unit testing, right? So let's go to our unit test class, and let me just give a nice name over here for the unit test, display customer, right? So display customer. So the first thing is I have to go and add the namespace here. So MVC input screen dot controllers, right? Okay, and now the controller class here is nothing but our customer controller. So let's go ahead and create the object of customer controller and invoke the display customer function. Now before we go and start writing our unit test code, we have to reference one more very important assembly in the MVC unit test. So that assembly is actually the MVC Dll, that is system.web.mvc, because without this it will be difficult that we can get the methods and functions of the view results and action results, etc. So let's do OK and reference this DLL, and let's reference the namespace in the test project, right? So there we are. Now let's start writing the code for unit test. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and create the object of the customer controller class, and we are going to go and invoke the display customer function here. So let's start. So let me just close this here. So customer controller obj is equal to new customer controller, simple, and obj dot display customer. And the display customer actually gives back a view result. So I'll just create a variable here called as var result, right? And now what we're going to do is we have to go and say that we have to put assert function here saying that what is the passed and the failed condition. So assert dot r equal. So what we'll say is that if the view name is display customer, that means the test is passed. Okay. So if I get the view as display customer, so in other words, in the var result, I'm going to say that my view name should be display customer, because if you remember right, in the customer controller, what we are doing is we are going and invoking the view called as display customer. So if the display customer view, if you get test project, that means this test is passed. So let me just go and build this project to see that everything is okay. So there's a test. So let's now go to the test menu and let's go to the test view. Right click and let me go and debug. So right click and I'll say run this test in a debug mode, right? So the first thing is it will go and create the customer controller class. So you can see that basically I put the debug point there. So it will go and hit the test method and it will go and invoke the display customer unit test. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm going and creating the customer object. The second thing is I'm going and invoking the display customer. So you can see that we are now in the controller of customer controller and it is invoking the display customer action. So we are filling the details of the customer object and passing it to the view. The view returns back if it is successful, and then we are saying okay, is the view name display customer? So in other words, in case if the view was unsuccessful, right, then this view name would be null. So at this moment I can see that display customer, so both of them are equal and this should actually show me a green signal. So once I run this, you can see that there's a passed condition here and it says that the expected was same. So in other words, we expected the display customer as a view to come out and it did match proper. So that's a very simple test which we have written for our customer controller class. So in other words, you saw that how easy it is now to go and create the object of the controller, because it's a simple .NET class, as compared to the page class what we had in the behind code. See, remember in the behind code, right, the page class was tied up with the UI, and it was also tied up with the HTTP context object. So it was very difficult to mimic or mock, the request, response, and the whole context object to do unit testing. So here, because the code has moved to the controller, it's very easy to go and create the object of the controller and then do unit test. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. In the coming up video, we're going to talk about a new concept, or I'll say a different concept, called as MVC routing. MVC routing actually helps to define our MVC URL in a much controlled manner, or in a much better manner. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned in this video series. I'm sure that you will understand MVC in a much better manner. Thank you very much.